I need goals. I desperately need goals. But I'm not looking for goal scorers. I'm not looking for shot takers. I'm looking for free kick winners. I'm not mad. Well, maybe, but there's method to the madness. You see, I'm bringing the dark arts to Durham. That's deep defending, explosive counters, and a whole heap of shithousery. We've nailed the defending and the fouling, securing promotion to the WSL, having only conceded 12 goals. The explosive counters, not so much. So that's what we're measuring today, working out how our outlets help us in transition and how we can measure it. To the tactics board. So here's the out of possession tactic. I have two outlets, or pressure valves if you will, a wide outlet winger on the left and a central outlet centre forward up front. The wide outlet relieves pressure by chasing balls down the flanks, stretching the opposition in transition and winning free kicks. The central outlet relieves pressure by contesting for headers, holding up the ball and winning free kicks. The idea is simple. If we improve the effectiveness of our outlets, we'll generate more chances. Goal scoring in and of itself is not the primary focus. Of course, we still need to measure it, and as free kicks are common ground for both roles, that's where we'll start. Hannah Blake, who played both as a striker and left winger for us, won the most free kicks, 14 to be exact. Layla McFarland is just one behind. That pales in comparison though to someone like Sunderland's Ellen Jones. That might be because Sunderland had considerably more possession than us over the course of the season. That's what I need to contextualise. How often do they draw free kicks relative to how often they have the ball? There are 4 ways that a player ends their possession of the ball. They complete a pass to a teammate, they take a shot, they give it away, or they win a free kick. I'll combine those 4 metrics to work out how many possessions a player had. I will then take fouls against and divide it by possessions to work out a free kick percentage. This is how frequently they win a free kick. Layla McFarland actually comes out on top of Hannah Blake. She wins a free kick 3.64% of the time, while Sunderland's Ellen Jones just 1.44% of the time. As before, I've calculated the average for each position, and I'll be looking for players who are above average in this metric. Now what about distinguishing between wide and central outlets? For wide outlets, I'm going to key in on dribbles, and once again, I'm going to measure that relative to possessions to create a dribble percentage. For central outlets, I'm going to focus on header win rate. The game already calculates this, thank God. That's our attacking profile sorted. I'll use free kick rate to identify outlets. I'll use dribble rate and header win rate to identify what type of outlets they can be. And I'll use the defensive profiles from last episode to complete the profile. As a reminder, I am looking for reactive defenders. That's the pink bar below the dotted line. I'm looking for tactical foulers. That's players that concede a lot of free kicks but don't pick up many bookings. Now I'm looking for outlets too. Our centre backs were reactive. That's good. Except Rebecca Matthias, who we'll touch on a little later. Generally they didn't foul as much as I'd like, but this is solid. At wingback, Yuki Seno and Ella Wilson stand out. Both reactive and both able to win free kicks. No one is quite perfect across the board, unfortunately. Ella Kinzet, however, is a star, above average in all metrics. Jasmine McQuaid, compared to attacking midfielders, only falls short on booking rate. The rest, however, are disappointing. Up front, everyone is effective at winning free kicks. We've got a good mix of dribblers and headerers. But this is also where there's a slight problem. I told you earlier that Hannah Blake split time between left wing and striker, as did Grace Eade and Layla McFarland. Only Blake was intentional though. When Eade started, it was as a left winger. When McFarland started, it was as a striker. When my assistant manager would make substitutions, however, he had his own ideas. And sadly, I have no way of determining how much time a player played in any given position. This problem extends to Rebecca Matthias, Lucy Watson, Dee Bradley and Yuki Seno, and that will impact their performance data. Let's take centre-backs as an example. They are more reactive than any other position, so when Yuki Seno plays games there, it will increase her reactive share, but she'll be compared against wing-backs. I could compare in broader terms, all defenders for example, but then all centre-backs will be more reactive than average, and all full-backs less reactive. I prefer the broader approach when doing something more general, but when specific, like measuring the dark arts, my needs are more granular. Both have their limitations, so it's something to be mindful of. So in the case of Matthias, Watson, Bradley, Seno and the strikers, I just need to be aware that I don't necessarily have that full picture. I think the squad as a whole performed well, but only Kinsett and McQuaid really stood out. With the WSL looming, we need to make some key additions if we're to have any hope of survival. And that means we need to know what we can spend. We're 95 grand in the red. That's 150k better than this time last season. 165,000 of that was from player sales. Without it, we'd have made a loss of 15k. But the WSL brings unspoken riches, specifically 900k in TV rights. That's 750 grand more than the WSL too. So if our spending miraculously stays the same, we're on track to not only clear our debt, but finish nearly 650k in the black. Divide that 650k across 52 weeks, and that's 12.5 grand per week. We could double our wage spend and just about break even. That would put us in line roughly with the lowest spenders in the WSL. But you know me, that's never gonna happen. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. If we get relegated, we're back to WSL 2 money, so I don't want to overextend. At most, I'm willing to increase the budget by 50%, so a maximum of 18k per week, an average of £720 per player. Of course, that depends on players wanting to join, and apparently there are 253 who are either British or likely to get a work permit. But I am specifically looking for reactive defenders and cheating forwards, all who foul a lot. That gives me a long list of 53 players, many of whom are under contract, many of whom play in Wales. No shade to the Welsh, but it is the lowest ranked league by quite some margin. Anyway, on to the signings. In goal, Claudia Jenkins. Our incumbent Kat Shepherd couldn't get a new work permit, so she was leaving. Jenkins is in the 87th percentile for reactive actions, and whilst her minus 0.22 XGP per 90 is not impressive, she was still one of the better performers in that regard. A free transfer and minimum wage. At centre-back, Natasha Pryor and Amy Goddard. Goddard actually fell short of my fouling metrics, but she is truly elite in the air. And free. Pryor gets booked a little too much, but has one of the best reactive percentages, and for her we smashed our record transfer fee. Well, previously it was £0. The 16k fee represents an infinite percentage increase. At left back, Chiara Vigliucci also gets booked a little too frequently, but only just. Unfortunately, I balked at the 20k asking price, so opted for Signa Markwoodson instead. She's not as good, but still hit the important benchmarks and was free. Truth be told, I think I made a mistake here. I was wary of spending too much on a position that might not be critical. In midfield, Sarah Garcia and Ella Frost. Garcia is another who picks up a few too many yellow cards for my liking, but otherwise has a strong defensive profile. Ella Frost is compared to central midfielders and is above average in every metric. That's why we parted with 5k to bring her in. Garcia arrived on free. For the left wing, Jessie Gale and Flora Marta. Angolan international Marta is just incredible, elite at dribbling and winning free kicks. Gale is just as dribbly and also quite adept at fouling without booking. Both arrive on a free transfer. Finally up front, Molly Farrow. There weren't many strikers who won free kicks, conceded free kicks and won headers. Farrow did, and so she arrives on a free transfer. With 9 new arrivals, that means we need to move some players on. Rebecca Matthias, Dee Bradley, Chelsea Blissett and Layla McFarland are all surplus to requirements. Unfortunately, no one wants to buy them. I did not know how difficult it was going to be to sell players. I offered them all out for free, repeatedly. I did manage to secure loans from Matthias to Cardiff City, D. Bradley to Bournemouth, and Layla McFarlane to Victoria. Blissett, though, stays. Lydia Pennock was also loaned out to get regular first-team football. Thankfully, I'm overly cautious when it comes to salary. Despite 9 new arrivals for a combined 21k, and only 1 permanent departure, our wage spend sits just under 16k per week, comfortably underneath my target. That, unsurprisingly, puts us bottom of the league for salaries, by a ridiculous amount. This should set alarm bells ringing, yet I'm calm. I'm not usually calm at this point. Is this what confidence feels like? Or maybe hubris? I suppose we'll find out shortly. First, let's see what it means for our tactic. There are 0 changes for the upcoming season. It's direct, high tempo, and counter-attacking in possession. It's a low block, low defensive line, low press out of it. The wing-backs cross from deep, the attacking midfielder moves into channels, the centre forward holds up the ball. That is it. There are things I want to change, but I've decided not to. The reason is simple. We've had a lot of player turnover, and we're about to face a higher calibre of opposition. If I change the tactic too, and things go wrong, it will be difficult to pinpoint which of these factors, if not all 3, is the issue. So let's see how we got on. The schedule could not have been crueler, like shooting butter in a barrel, like taking candy from a fish, like a hot knife through a baby. Chelsea destroyed us. Arsenal were next, and Jill Ward had us clamouring for relegation to be swift and painless. And then Marta equalised. We'd earn a point at Brighton too, before Liverpool brought us back down to earth. It wasn't until the 5th game of the season, at home to Leicester, we'd register our first win, courtesy of goals from Kinzet and McQuaid. Our home form was going to be key if we had any chance of survival. Wins over Everton and Spurs certainly helped, and we needed them because our away form was abysmal. Not unexpected by any means, but nonetheless we fell to defeats at Aston Villa, Man United and Man City. And then there was Crystal Palace. If ever you needed a textbook example of the wide outlet at their best, this would be the moment. McQuaid's goal cancelled out Lambert's opener. Laura Lund would then score the WSL goal of the season, before Millie Farrow and Jessie Gale would wrap up a 4-1 win with perfect counter-attacking moves. At the halfway point we were 7th, a 7-point buffer between us and the relegation playoff spot. We'd made it out of the League Cup group stages for the first time in the save, only to get thumped by Chelsea. We'd made it past the 4th round of the FA Cup for the first time in the save, only to get knocked out by London City. We'd lose to Chelsea once more in the league. Arsenal and Everton enacted revenge, whilst Leicester denied us a double. At home though, we were still solid. Millie Farrow completed a 3-2 comeback against Brighton in the 82nd minute. Jasmine McQuaid scored the only goal against Villa. With 7 games remaining, the gap to relegation had opened to 10 points. A narrow victory over Bristol City followed. Against London City, we registered our 2nd away win of the season. Next, we welcomed Man United to Maiden Castle, where we were torn a new one. Maya Letitia, Elizabeth Turland, Melvin Milan and Ella Toone wrapped up a 4-2 win. We'd scrape a draw against Tottenham, complete our only double against Crystal Palace before falling 2-1 to both Liverpool and Man City to round out the season. That would be enough to secure a 6th place finish, 22 points off 4th. We won just a third of our games, scored the 5th fewest goals, but had the 3rd best defensive record. The dark arts are in flow. This is glorious. We had just 28% possession. We conceded 135 more fouls than the next worst team. We received more than double the bookings. Once again, we faced the most shots, but with just 33.4 XG against, the average shot against us was worth just 0.075 XG. Only Arsenal and Man City also had values below 0.1, and we were miles better than them. This is what we want, but how did the players get on? I'm not too focused on goal output, but Millie Farrow and Flora Marta are our first players to hit double figures in a save in this season. Jessie Gale was only one away herself, but there are some concerning signs here. Amy Goddard was the only defender with acceptable reactive percentage. Nagashima was the only one with an above average header win rate. Our defensive midfielders are still a little too proactive. We are doing a great job at fouling and winning free kicks though. Now earlier I said I wanted to make changes to the tactics, but didn't. I think the data shows this is the next step. Some adjustments needed to firm up that defence even more. That's for next episode, where I'll be refining the formula further to find those dirty reactive cheats I covet to embrace the dark arts. See you then. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a like or maybe even subscribing. Your support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to join these wonderful folks currently adorning your screen, you can become a member or Patreon. Details in the description below.